When we talk about professional sports, our minds usually jump straight to championships, right? To dynasties. But today, we're going to look at a different kind of story altogether. We're talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets.
This team's journey is a real outlier in the NHL. Their whole identity, their constant struggles, and then these incredible, out-of-nowhere moments of brilliance. It all weaves together a story that's less about filling a trophy case and way more about building a legacy when all the odds are stacked against you.
And look, let's just be super clear about this from the start. If you're here for tales of Stanley Cups and conference titles, this isn't that story. The Blue Jackets are actually one of only a handful of NHL teams that have never even made it to a conference final. No, this is a story about something else. Something you could argue is way more fundamental, not just in sports, but in life. It's about endurance. It's about what it means to stare failure in the face, to fight for respect, and to just keep moving forward, even when you're hit with unimaginable tragedy. So where does a story like that even begin? Well, for these guys, it's literally baked right into the team's name and its deep connection to American history. The name Blue Jackets, it's a direct nod to Ohio's massive contribution to the Union Army during the Civil War. When President Lincoln put out the call for troops, Ohio delivered in a huge way, becoming this central hub for soldiers who, you guessed it, wore those iconic blue jackets. So from day one, their identity was rooted in history and service. And this isn't just some dusty history lesson either. Oh no, they live it. Inside their arena, they have a replica 1857 Napoleon cannon that actually fires when the team takes the ice, when they score a goal, and when they win. It's this loud, proud, and totally unique celebration of who they are. And that identity of struggle, it was there from the absolute beginning. I mean, just getting this franchise off the ground was a fight for survival that pretty much mirrored all the struggles the team would face later on. Just look at this timeline. In May of '97, a public vote to fund the arena fails. Now that should have been the end of the story. But a founder had privately promised the NHL an arena would be built no matter what. And just a few weeks later, Nationwide stepped in to fund it. And the franchise was born. They literally had to endure just to exist. And that struggle, well, it continued right onto the ice. For nearly 2 decades, the team was just kind of stuck. They'd make the playoffs here and there, but they were always knocked out right away. The main thing to know, for 18 straight seasons, they never won a single playoff series. But here's the thing about a story of endurance. It isn't all struggle. It's defined by those incredible moments when all that persistence finally pays off in the most spectacular way you can imagine. After years and years of waiting, it finally happened in 2014. They're facing the powerhouse Pittsburgh Penguins. They're down, but they rally back to force overtime. And then Matt Calvert scores, and the place just explodes. It was the franchise's first ever playoff game victory. Now, it wasn't a series win, but for that team and those fans, it was a massive, massive breakthrough. But that single win, that was just an appetizer for what was coming in 2019. Okay, so picture this. On one side, you have the Tampa Bay Lightning, the best team in the league by a mile, winners of the President's Trophy. On the other side, the Blue Jackets, a team that barely even scraped into the playoffs. This was supposed to be an easy, quick win for Tampa, no question. And then, this happened. 4-0, a clean sweep. The Blue Jackets didn't just win their first ever playoff series. They pulled off one of the greatest, most shocking upsets in the history of sports. The best team in the league swept right out in the first round. Just a moment of pure, unbelievable glory. But even after an incredible high like that, a familiar, painful problem started to creep back in. This narrative that Columbus was a place stars came from, but never a place where they stayed. This perception just haunted the franchise. And the list just felt endless. Team captains like Rick Nash, Sergei Bobrovsky, a guy who won the Vezina Trophy for best goalie twice while he was in Columbus. Their most dynamic player, Artemi Panarin. For the fans, every single one of those departures was a blow. And it just kept reinforcing that painful reputation that the team just couldn't hold on to its top talent. Then, in 2022, something happened that absolutely no one saw coming. Johnny Gaudreau, one of the biggest stars in the entire league, didn't sign with a typical powerhouse. He chose Columbus. This quote really says it all. He completely shattered the narrative. He didn't just choose Columbus. He reportedly took less money to do it. And his reason? He said he came there to win hockey games. It was this huge vote of confidence, a signal that maybe, just maybe,
This so-called non-traditional hockey market could be a destination after all.
But the story of the Blue Jackets' endurance has been tested in recent years in ways that go far beyond on-ice struggles, by profound and just devastating loss. In 2021, the team tragically lost their goaltender, Matiss Kivlenieks, in a terrible accident. And then, in 2024, the unthinkable happened when Johnny Gaudreau, the very star who chose them, the one who gave them so much hope, was killed in a cycling accident. These weren't just losses for a hockey team. These were deep, painful tragedies for a whole community. And so this all brings us to this central question for this franchise. A team born from a flat-out refusal to quit. A team that endured years of losing, that achieved a miracle upset, and that has now faced unimaginable grief. For the Columbus Blue Jackets, the theme of endurance has never been more real. The question now is, what will that resilience look like moving forward?